It's the rule of nerds.
And these are our reactions for the trailers of Justice League, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Game of Thrones.
Alright, let's start off with Justice League. Just like the teaser, as opposed to the full trailer, the humor component continues. Although a lot of the punchlines for the teaser fell on the shoulders of Barry Allen or The Flash, in the full trailer, a lot of the quips are coming from Aquaman. So there's even this whole teaser that it's going to be some sort of bromance between Batman and Aquaman. So I guess the entire humor that was supposedly missing from BVS is continued in Justice League.
Yeah, Jason Momoa's Arthur Curry looks like he's gonna be an awesome character in this movie. But you know what? I have to admit, I didn't care too much for some of the special effects that they had here. I understand this might be unfinished. It's a ways away before the movie comes out, but it really looks like it's gonna be pardon the language, but a CGI shitfest. You know, something that Zack Snyder has been known to do. There are a lot of good scenes, like with Aquaman. When he's with the water in the background, or when he goes to the bar. Wonder Woman has this fight scene where it looks like it's taking place in a bank. So it's easy to connect with those scenes, but when you go into the parts where they have to go out into space to fight some parademons, and you can see the backgrounds are different colors, it's just none of it is believable. It's all just CG, and it kind of reminds you of the difference between the Star Wars prequels and the original and the sequel trilogy, where they used a lot of practical effects.
All right, for me, it's the complete opposite. I'm just so happy, finally, to see the superheroes acting like superheroes, as opposed to the teaser, where everyone was very static. It was more like establishing the characters. It's nice to see the Flash whizzing about. It's nice to see Aquaman in the water. So for me, I'm just super happy to see them looking like superheroes. Like I remember in BVS, for me, it was only the second half that got exciting when the action started to see, the Trinity fighting alongside each other. So hopefully Justice League will give us more of the superhero action that a lot of the fans were sort of complaining that they didn't get enough of in BVS. So hopefully that's what Justice League is going to give us this time around.
Even in the trailer, there was definitely a great moment there that kind of harkens back to, like you said, when you see the Trinity in BVS, or even, that great iconic group shot of the Avengers in their movie. But when we first saw promotional material for this movie, they promised to unite the 7, but really all we've seen are 5 members of the Justice League. We haven't seen Superman. We know there's going to be a Green Lantern movie, but we haven't seen Green Lantern yet. How satisfied would you be coming out of this movie if you don't get to see all 7 of them?
I really doubt that we will not see 7 superheroes by the end of the movie. I'm pretty sure, when they say unite the 7, they will deliver on that. So my thing is, I'm pretty sure by the end of this movie, you will see 7 heroes. Superman is a no-brainer. He will appear by the final trailer. I'm sure we'll see Henry Cavill already. It's a question of how much Green Lantern will we get by the end of Justice League. So, I don't know if it happens in the very final shot, but we will see Green Lantern, the full hero, or maybe just a teaser, maybe a ring, maybe the logo, I don't know. But for sure, there will be a uniting of the 7 by the end of this movie.
I'm not going to be satisfied if we just see a ring. I want to see Armie Hammer in his full Green Lantern costume, if it's him playing it. But, we need to see Green Lantern in this one.
Okay, let's talk about first looks. Well, I'm pretty sure we're so happy to see Mira in the water. It was a very quick 1-second look at Mira. Don't expect any Nicole Kidman or Black Manta, because that's for the solo Aquaman movie. We also had a first look at Commissioner Gordon, this version of Commissioner Gordon. And if you were to believe a certain conspiracy theory, supposedly if you freeze frame one scene in the trailer with the parademons, in the far distance, you see what looks like 2 winged creatures. Is this really a little Easter egg for Hawkman and Hawkgirl? We doubt it. Maybe it's a little seed that they planted for a future, maybe, appearance. But as far as Justice League is concerned, we doubt that we'll actually see them.
Yeah, they could be more parademons. But one of the big omissions, something that we haven't seen in any of these trailers yet, Steppenwolf. We know Steppenwolf is going to be the main villain for this Justice League movie. We know he's the lieutenant and the uncle of Darkseid. Darkseid, of course, expected to be like the big bad, the Thanos of the entire DC extended universe. But for someone who's expected to play a major role in this movie, we haven't seen anything of Steppenwolf, and hopefully we'll get to see something of him. It's going to be played by a great actor, Game of Thrones alumni Karen Hines. So I want to see some Steppenwolf.
All right, so basically that's it for Justice League. And we move on now to Spider-Man, The Homecoming, the second trailer. So what do you think?
Spider-Man Homecoming, this was a second trailer. So it's not like we were getting, our first look at this movie. Not a lot of new things we get here.
I agree.
They deepen some of the things we already know. But yeah, it's fun to see. It's great fun to watch, but nothing like earth-shaking in this one.
Now, for the first look, I think a lot of the first looks are more of on the costume. So it's the first look at how the new costume fits Peter Parker. So apparently it's like a vacuum sealed costume. He puts it on, it's baggy, he presses a button, I guess, and it suddenly become, skin tight. The costume that we're all familiar with. There's also this little nod to the Scarlet Spider. He has his own homemade version with a hoodie, and it looks very put together. It looks very much like the Scarlet Spider, but of course it has nothing to do with Ben Reilly. I doubt if we'll see any Ben Reilly in this one. It's more of like a little nod to the Scarlet Spider costume. Also, there's a little first look at, again, it's just a nod to the original Vulture costume. You see Michael Keaton wearing a jacket with a fur collar. So I guess that's as close as we will get to the comics version of the Vulture, because as we all know by now, the version of the Vulture in this movie is more like a cross between a parademon and the Falcon. Very metallic, very mechanical. So we won't really see the comic version that we're used to.
Yeah. We also get a quick peek of Captain America
True.
in a video in gym class.
Yeah.
That's interesting. They're really establishing this as part of the MCU. But strange thing that we haven't seen yet is Donald Glover and his mystery role. Everybody knows Donald Glover. He's been cast in to play Miles Morales in an animated movie. There's some speculation that he might be playing a version of Miles Morales in this one, Spider-Man Homecoming. But it could also be something else. We've never really gotten confirmation, but as someone as high profile as that, he's playing Lando Calrissian in the Han Solo movie. We haven't seen anything of him yet, so they're probably keeping it secret for a reason, but it's interesting to find out when that's going to be.
I will be very disappointed if he isn't Miles Morales, because it doesn't make sense that he's Miles in the cartoons but not Miles in the movie. All right, but there's this thing that a lot of people are talking about on the internet where, after the sequel to Homecoming, that there's going to be a separation once again of the MCU and Spider-Man. So what's this all about?
Yeah, okay, so the former chief of Sony Pictures, Amy Pascal, she made an interesting quote to the media last week, and we want to get this right, so let's read it. It's one of the things that I think is so amazing about this experience is that you don't have studios deciding to work together to make a film very often. In fact, it may never happen again after we do the sequel. So if you want to understand how this works, Sony owns the rights to the Spider-Man character for movies. They made a deal, Marvel and Sony made a deal so they can, Sony still owns Spider-Man, but Marvel helps them produce the movies, and those movies are part of the MCU.
So apparently there's only 5 movies. So that's Civil War, the 2 Infinity War movies, and the 2 solo Spider-Man movies, Homecoming and the sequel.
But Sony actually has Tom Holland. Tom Holland's not contracted to Marvel. He's contracted to Sony. And they actually have him for 6 films. So we might be seeing a solo Tom Holland starrer Spider-Man based in the Sony universe, not connected at all to Marvel Cinematic Universe. Are you buying this though, based on how well the reception has been to this partnership with the Spider-Man in the MCU?
Well, we don't know how the suits will argue this out. Basically, it will depend on how much money this brings in, how greedy or how willing to share the studios will be. But as early as now, I really hope that they keep the two universes together. But who knows? So we just have to, wait and see what happens next.
Yeah, I think as far as we know, creatively, this has been a great partnership. Financially, I don't think it's any question. Civil War made like $1 billion or something.
Yes.
But it only makes sense for them to come together and to sign a new contract, continue this partnership after the Homecoming sequel.
All right, so let's move on to Game of Thrones. So far, until now, we still don't have a full trailer. So we had a teaser that was mostly an audio file with some random, like, animal heads. But now they're giving us just a little bit more. Basically, it's the three contenders to the throne. You have Jon Snow, you have Daenerys Stormborn, and you have Cersei Lannister walking to their respective thrones.
Yeah. So these are all obviously royalty. You've got Jon Snow, the king in the north. You've got Daenerys, the queen of Meereen, and Khaleesi of the Dothraki. And you've got the person sitting on the Iron Throne, Cersei Lannister. But really, to be completely honest, you don't get a lot in this teaser trailer. Probably the only thing that really happens of note is near the end of it, you see Cersei take an icy cold breath, something we've seen before, something that may tie into the Night's King.
Exactly. So there's this conspiracy theory that's going around. Take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of people are saying, does this mean, are they teasing us that Cersei Lannister will actually become the bride of, the leader of the White Walkers, the Night King? Will she become the Night Queen? It's very unlikely. We doubt it, because usually the breath only means they're nearby. But you're just throwing it out there that people are saying, what if she becomes, the queen of the White Walkers?
Yeah, I think we've seen like Bran Stark take a breath similar to this before. I think that the explanation that makes sense is really just that, we've seen the north has been winter for a long time. Past the Wall has been winter for a long time. But they've always said winter's coming, and maybe it's coming to King's Landing in season 7.
All right.
I think that's all that it means.
Now, for the first look, not a lot is given really. We're just being given bones here. So I think you see the first look of mostly like what they're wearing. For Daenerys, it's the first time we're seeing her in winter clothes. She's no longer wearing her summer dresses. So now she's fully covered up. And we also see her going to a throne, not her throne, but Stannis' throne. So there's a lot of history here.
Yeah, it's really more of a recapturing of their old throne. Stannis was the one who drove the Targaryens away in the end of Robert's Rebellion. At least Viserys and Daenerys, they escaped from Dragonstone, which is traditionally a Targaryen home place. And now that Stannis is out of the picture, it looks like that's where Daenerys is deciding on setting up as a home base. So that's interesting there. But as far as what we haven't seen, we haven't really seen a lot of everyone else.
Yes.
We've seen the three contenders, we've seen the Night's King, but Game of Thrones, if anything, is an ensemble kind of TV show. You've got so many interesting characters. Although, if you do want to see a sneak peek, you can go and watch an HBO ad.
Yeah, but it's more of an HBO thing, and all you'll really see a lot of the major cast members in the costumes that they will be wearing in this season. But I think as far as information is concerned, we're going to have to wait for the full trailer when we're closer to the air date of Game of Thrones.
Did it do its job though? Did it make you at least the slightest bit more excited for season 7?
Just a little bit. Like I said, I think the real excitement is when we see the full trailer for season 7, because that's when we'll see actual scenes from the TV show. So other than that, it's just, whetting the appetite.
And that's it for our reactions to the 3 trailers, Game of Thrones, Justice League, and Spider-Man Homecoming. If you guys have seen it, Please tell us what you think. Let us know in the comment sections which ones are you most excited to seeing.
All right, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's The Rule of Nerds. And also follow us on our social media accounts. It's The Rule of Nerds on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for our personal accounts, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's at Chico Garcia.
And you can follow me, JM_Bolante on Instagram, just M_Bolante on Twitter. Nerds out!